Well, hello, and welcome back to me. Now, people often get this statement thrown at them whenever they're thinking about getting new tattoos or a new piercing, and then with the invention of video cameras and readily available camera phones, with social media to post them to and friends to share them with, we now have a new way to readily regret all the decisions that we make in our youth. And by dressing like this and putting myself online looking the way that I do right now and in the past, people often ask me, "Hey Jake, you are going to regret looking like this when you're older." So here is an entire video explaining what I think about this. Now, I get this in hate comments, but that's not what I'm addressing. I'm addressing people who actually do have concerns about me regretting putting myself online looking the way that I do. But I'm also addressing those who are worried about putting themselves online looking the way they want to look. So here it is. Here is me addressing that. So let's talk about me for just 1 second. I'm 28, so I already have history for me to look back on and speculate on whether or not I regret looking the way that I do. Now, you guys have seen my my MySpace discovery video where I go through my old MySpace. Do I regret looking like that? No. Not at all. I loved the fact that I was the only person in that entire town, that entire village, that entire part of Wales who was brave enough to do something like that. Live out loud and go to college like that and take photos and have a social life looking that way. I am proud that I did that I looked like that. 10 years later, I look back and I am still proud of it. Could my makeup have been better? Of course it could have been, but now I'm better at it. I didn't have any references or any guidance. I didn't like Manson, so I wasn't trying to copy his look. I didn't like Wednesday 13 or Murder Doll, so I wasn't trying to copy them. The only thing I had were these grainy J-Rock videos, and I couldn't really do their looks anyway because I wanted to be more extreme. I just wanted to do an extreme look. And what I came up with in my teens was just my interpretation of an extreme look. That was me. I did that. If it happened to look like anyone else, then that is just circumstantial. I always try and be as original as I possibly can, but it is okay to take inspiration from other people. Just don't completely rip them off. But as you guys well know, I do have a part of my history that I do heavily regret, and that is this part of my life. Yes, these images. Ironically, the only part of my fashion history that I regret is the time I was actually dressing normal. In fact, whenever I rediscovered myself, I had a bit of a race, a bit of a complex about trying to get away and put as much distance between the current me and that past me as much as possible, as fast as possible. I didn't want to be associated with that version of me anymore. That was not me. I don't even know who that person was. Hell, I didn't even know who I was at the time of being that person. So luckily for me, I explored what it would be like to completely betray my personal image, my mental image of myself, and try and conform and be normal for once. And it was the most miserable I've ever been. So there's the irony. The only thing I actually regret in my entire history of dressing myself was the time that I dressed normal. I loved every moment that I wore bad makeup, or my hair was crap, or, you know, I didn't shave and try to put foundation on and it just looked terrible. Because at least in those moments, I was being myself. So will I regret looking like this in another 10 years? Well, I think it's safe to say no. What about when you're 48, 58, 68? Will I regret looking like this then? No. In fact, who knows? And more importantly, who cares? And this is the much larger picture outside of myself that I need to address. And that is doing things within reason that you might regret in your old age. To me, that is the dumbest thing. You have to live in the now and not for the future. Obviously, I'm learning as I get older that I do need to prepare for the future in some regard, but I never ever forget that if I want to do something at that very moment that I know will make me happy, I will do it. I would love to interview some elderly people and ask them about the tattoos that they got in their youth and whether or not they regret them. I bet you that almost every single person I interviewed who looked at their tattoos or told me a story about their tattoo that they got in their youth, they would say that they loved and remember that day fondly. At least I would. I got this dragon sleeve tattoo when I was on my 18th birthday. I knew exactly what I wanted since I was 16 years old. I said, "Dad, when I'm 18 years old, I want a dragon half-sleeve tattoo. I just wanted it. It's all I wanted." So he saved up and I saved up, and on my 18th birthday I had an appointment and I went in and I got it done. Now my tastes have since changed. Had I been given an opportunity to fill this space today, had I never got a tattoo, I would have gotten something completely different. But do I regret getting this dragon tattoo 10 years ago? Absolutely not. It reminds me exactly who I was during those times in my life, and every time I look at my dragon tattoo, I look back fondly. I look at it as like a little gift from past Jake that he gave me. You know, sometimes when you receive a present from like a kid, you know, like your child or a friend who doesn't know you very well, so they just do the best that they can. They get you the gift that they think that you will like, at least, you know, because they thought of you. You receive the gift, it's not exactly what you wanted, but it's made all the more special and all the more meaningful because they thought of you. And it's that makes that gift special. And for me, that's what this tattoo is. Luckily though, I have 2 arms. So on my left arm, I am currently going through a Silent Hill sleeve tattoo, which is a lot more what the current Jake would have gone for. And it is still exactly what I want to get. Like, I was still a fan of Silent Hill back when I was 18, I just didn't think of it. And also, as for tattoo videos, because you guys have asked for tattoo tour videos, like tattoos that I have, I will never do a video on them. And here's why. People steal tattoos. My dragon tattoo was drawn on with a Sharpie. It was not from a book or from Google Images. I went in and I asked the tattoo artist for a dragon, for an Asian style dragon, and he got out a Sharpie and drew it on. And then he said, "How does that look?" And I said, "That's great." So no one on this planet has a dragon tattoo the same way that I do. I have a really crap phoenix tattoo just above it, which was never finished, and I don't intend to get it finished. I'm actually going to get it covered up at some point, because the line work was just so bad. But the phoenix design came from several different sources. I had traditional phoenix in there, I had like several different types of artwork phoenixes in there, I made a few personal changes to the phoenix, mixed things around, had it redrawn several times, moved the pose around to wrap around my arm, so there is no one on this planet who has a phoenix tattoo the same way that I do. And when it comes to my Silent Hill sleeve tattoo, not a single person on this planet has a Silent Hill sleeve tattoo the same way that I do. Most people have the Silent Hill movies tattooed on them. Which is fine. If you like the movies, then that's your business. Personally, I despise the Silent Hill movies. So I would never, ever, ever own anything that is Silent Hill movie related. They are, and I'm not going to talk too much about this, an absolute insult to the source material. So what I had to do was try and get the highest res pictures of Silent Hill video game artwork that I could find, which is very, very hard to do. Those games are from like PS1, PS2 era, so a lot of the stills and a lot of the artwork is from a very long time ago, or on a console that was not capable of HD. So I had to find the highest res images that I possibly could, but some of the artwork actually just came from resin models that were officially distributed by Konami, because they were the closest artist 3D rendering of the monsters in the video games, along with some concept art that was made during the production of the games, and that is currently what is tattooed on me now. Silent Hill the video game artwork from 1, 2, and 3. No movie artwork. So if you happen to catch a glimpse of my tattoos in my videos, or if I do a meet and greet, or you happen to find me in the street or whatever, and you happen to get a look at it, that's probably the only time that you're going to see it. Mainly these tattoos are for me, and I would be utterly heartbroken and thoroughly livid if I saw anyone stealing my tattoos, especially my Silent Hill sleeve. It took me so long to find the artwork that was actually usable to do the tattoo, but also keep it authentic and in line with what I wanted. And back on track, no, I will never ever regret these tattoos. You can't live your life in anticipation of what you'll think when you're old. It's like they always say, and by they, I mean everyone who has been through experiences and lived their life, and what they say is that you always regret the things that you didn't do, and not the things that you did do. Obviously there are exceptions to the rule, but I've heard this from multiple trusted sources, and I always think of this. In fact, I can prove that rule. There are some things in my life, in my history, that I wish I had done, but I haven't done. In fact, there's one reoccurring memory that I have that I always wish I had taken, and it's something so domestic, but the fact that I didn't do it just irks me. I remember going to the beach as a kid. I think I must have been 10 years old. It was a beautiful day, and it was this private beach that no one had actually found, so there was no one there. And there was rocks that just went right out from the shore. And at the end of the rocks, you could jump off, and it was nice and deep, but it was crystal clear, so you could see everything. Absolutely beautiful. But for the longest time, I have had a crippling fear of the sea, mainly because of sharks, but there are other things in there that want to cause you harm, like jellyfish, for example. And I remember getting all excited because it looked so enticing, like the water was just begging to be jumped into, and I could feel me jumping, I could feel my body wanting to jump into the sea, but my brain could only think about sharks. The second I jump into this water, a shark is going to immediately go for me, and I'm going to die a horrible, bloody death in the jaws of some creature I don't even see hit me, and it's so scary. And I was there for a solid 10 minutes with my dad telling me to jump in, my brother telling me to jump in, and they were all having a great time. My dog was jumping in and having a great time. I just couldn't do it. I just could not jump in, and I ended up spending the entire day on the beach with my mom. To this day, I wish I had jumped in. I mean, is jumping into the sea and getting a tattoo comparable? No. But I do think it does explore the point of it's the things that you don't do that you regret. Unfortunately, tattoos aren't permanent. They can be laser removed. I wish that technology hadn't been made, you know, because you think about it for so long and you're like, I'm gonna put this on my skin and it's gonna be there forever. This is the ultimate decision. This is me being someone who can commit to something like this. But no, you can get them lasered off, and I think that actually does cheapen the experience just a little bit. Like, I'm sure there are some people out there who are just like, no, I'm so glad laser removal technology exists because I got a whole sleeve removed and put one. I know a lot of people actually who are very heavily modded who got tattoos removed only to put new ones back on so they can simply change it. And that's another thing I'd like to talk about, and it's actually something I live by. This is a motto I live by, and it's from The Matrix. I kind of changed it around a little bit to have it make more sense contextually. It's from the scene after Neo, Trinity, and Morpheus have met the Merovingian, who actually is French, by the way. It's a very cool scene. You should watch the second and third. I like the second and third movies. I think they are fantastic, and I think people are being too hard on those movies. No one ever rags on the first movie. The fact that they talk about Zion and this human colony, but it's never shown. They never talk about it, but they do show it extensively in the second and third movies. Why aren't they being praised for that? Whatever, I'm getting off track. Basically, the meeting goes horribly, and they're in the elevator, and they're wondering if they should have done or said something else. But Morpheus says calmly, what happened happened, and could not have happened any other way. And it's these words that I live by. Contextualized to me, it's whatever happens, happens, and will not happen any other way. Meaning, you are going to make the choices you are going to make. Which also goes into the whole concept of, do humans actually have free will? But that's a very deep theory, and I'm not going to go into that one. So whenever it comes to me making a decision, and this is why I'm not indecisive, this is why I'm always ready with the decisions, I always think, whatever happens, happens, and could not have happened any other way. Sure, I could have made the opposite choice, but I didn't, and I never would. Because I am me, and this is how I think, and these are the decisions I would have made. Like the Oracle in that movie said, you've already made the choice, you just need to try and understand why. So to summarize, am I going to regret looking the way that I do now and putting this online and putting this for everyone to see? Well, there's two answers. No. And who cares? What does it matter? If I do, then I do. Humans are always growing, always learning. You're never going to be the constant level of smart or self-aware that you will be for the rest of your life. For me, happiness is pursued through risk. When I was 18, I booked a flight to Northern Ireland with my dole money after only knowing Kaya for like several months because a friend who lived here had told me that he could get me a job at this place. So I took what little money I had, I left all of my belongings behind, and I flew over here with a return flight, just in case. But I had no intention of getting on that flight. So I flew out, I did the job interview, I got the job, I didn't go back on that return flight, and I'm still here. I am dangerously impulsive, so not everything I've done has been a really great decision, but I'm still here, and every decision I made led me to this point in my life, where I am happy. And if anyone out there is having some on-the-fence thoughts about doing something drastic with their hair, or a tattoo, or moving, or even just moving down the street, or even moving out from your parents, or changing job, or doing something that involves some kind of risk, then it is against my better judgment that I perhaps say that you consider maybe doing it. Look, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Some of you are going to take risks, and they're not going to work out. But you just have to get out of that decision and make a better decision after a better decision, and eventually you will end up where you want to be. Life, success, and happiness are built on taking risks. If you are always safe, if you are never taking risks, then nothing will ever change. If that's fine with you, then great. But for those people who are unhappy with their lives, you have more power than you think you have to change it. Risk is not bad, bad consequences are not necessarily bad. They're just there to teach you a lesson to not make the same mistake. You just need to learn the lessons when they happen and take in the knowledge and apply that to the future of your life. Me, for example. When I was really depressed, I had a really bad habit of spending money the second I got it. I was just, second I had cash, boom, it was gone. Because I just wanted to buy things, because buying things granted me a modicum of happiness, which was frivolous and would go away after a while, and then I had no money. So from those bad decisions, I learned not to do that. So now I don't do that. So that is why I say, make it a great day. Because you can't. Risk is always going to be involved in chasing your dream. You are never not going to be in a position where chasing your dream is not going to be a risky thing to do. Whenever I quit my job to do YouTube full time, there was horrendous risk in place. And if I had waited to see if my YouTube channel had done better, or if I could do something else, then I would not be doing YouTube full time like I am doing right now. So thank you everyone for tuning in. I hope you had a good time. I will see you guys on Wednesday. And remember, you can have a great day if you make it a great day.